Hi, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Larry and this is Dad, What's for Dinner? Today is the day before Thanksgiving and I was tasked with bringing desserts. So I'm going to go ahead and use the pumpkin that we processed in the last video. I'll link it up here somewhere. And we're going to go ahead and use that and make pumpkin pie. Pretty simple recipe. Let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started here. We're going to start off with some of our dry ingredients. There's not very many ingredients in here. We have to start off 3/4 cup of sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. I just get the blend if you are feeling extra and you want to get all the things that actually make up pumpkin pie spice and figure out the proportions and everything, knock yourself out. But I prefer to do it this way because it's easier. Every now and again, I'll get really extra and I'll make a pie with like actual ginger and, you know, go that extra step, but not today. We're keeping it pretty simple, pretty easy, with the exception of the what am I even trying to say? With the pumpkin puree that we processed ourselves. All right, so you get that really well mixed up and incorporated. We're going to go ahead and get 2 eggs. And we're going to go ahead and beat those real quick. All right, to that beaten egg, we're going to add our pumpkin puree. And again, that's the stuff that we processed ourselves. This is 1 can's worth, or 15 ounces. Is it worth it to process your own? Well, from a purely monetary standpoint, probably not, because, you know, a can of pumpkin is what, $2.38 or something at the grocery store. And I got, I don't know, 6 cans worth of pumpkin out of the pumpkins that I processed. So I don't know, was it worth the extra hour or 2 to process? No, but hey, content is content, right? All right, so once we have those eggs pretty well incorporated into that puree, we're going to go ahead and add in our dry, which again is just the sugar, the seasoning, and the salt. And we're going to give that a stir. And then we have 1 can of evaporated milk, not sweetened condensed milk, but evaporated milk. There is a difference. You can't substitute one for the other. And we're going to just, if I can do this without making a huge mess, we're going to incorporate this slowly. And go ahead and scrape that down again. All right, so that's our custard ready to go. And then you're going to pour that into your prepared pie shell. For our purposes, this is just a store-bought shell. Pie dough and I have I can make pie dough, but it doesn't always turn out the greatest. I'm not real sure what I do wrong, but I always seem to mess it up. So, you know, I'm okay using store-bought. Plus, it's easier. We're going kind of with a rustic look here. I'm not necessarily worried about the pinching, making it super pretty. I did dock it a little bit with a fork. I don't know if you actually need to do that, but I did it anyway. So we're going to take our prepared custard here, and we're going to pour it into our prepared shell. What I'm going to do here, you want to fill it as full as you're comfortable. And I'm going to go right about there. Okay, so we're going to place this on a sheet tray, if I can do this without making any spillage. And apparently I can't. All right, so if that happens, let me clean off my work surface a little bit here. It's not the end of the world, but you do want to clean off your crust as best you can, because the sugar and stuff that's in there will burn on the crust, and that won't make for a pretty pie. So we'll try to get as much of that off of the rim of the pie as we can. Okay. So you want to cook this initially in a 425 degree oven for about 15 minutes. And after that, you're going to reduce the heat to 350. And you may need to put a shield around the crust at that point to keep it from burning. And when we get there, I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so I had mentioned getting a shield for the pie, the crust from burning. And you can either make one out of aluminum foil. If you're going to bake more than one pie a year, I would really recommend you get one of these. They're pretty cheap. I've had this one, gosh, probably 20 years. It's just made out of silicone. They're really cheap, and it just goes over the top of the pie to keep the outer side, the crust from burning once it's set. But like I said, if you're going to bake more than one pie a year, I would recommend getting one of these. It's really worth it. Otherwise, you have to kind of play origami with foil and, make a ring of foil. But yeah, you do you. Okay, so that's been 15 minutes. We're going to go ahead and drop our temperature down to 350. And we're going to bake that for about, we'll check it at 40 minutes. Could be 40 to 50 minutes. And then we're going to take a look and see how brown that crust is. And I think I'm good with that. So I'm going to go ahead and put my shield on there. And again, it just goes right on top like that. Close her up. And we'll be back in 45 minutes, or 40 minutes rather. I forgot to push start on my timer. There we go. All right, see you then. Okay, so it's been about 45 minutes. We're going to go ahead and take a look. And we're going to just take a toothpick. And it's come out kind of wet still, so I'm going to give it another 5 minutes. Okay, it's been 5 minutes. Let's take a look. See what we got going on. I'm going to call that good. I'm going to pull that out, and it's going to go on a baking rack, or not a baking rack, excuse me, a cooling rack for about 2 hours. And we can go ahead and remove this shield. And as you can see, it allowed the crust to get nice and golden brown. So that's all for this one. This is Larry. This is Dad What's for Dinner. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. As always, leave a comment. Until next time, take care and God bless.